Well, good evening, Facebook and YouTube audience. It's Monday night. We're at the Philly Fantasy Fabrication, DaPHAB Sports Show, the dopest sports show on the radio. Coming to you live every Monday night, 8 p.m. Please continue to follow us. The show is brought to you by Kobe Visions. Hit a like and subscribe to the Kobe Visions when you see our YouTube links being posted. I'm your host. My name is Miguel Perez. Got my co-host, Ronell Stackhouse, a.k.a. Stack. What's going on, bro?
Not much. How are you?
Man, listen, I'm blessed, man. Had a good week. Been busy, been grinding. You know, embrace the grind is the philosophy around here. But, you know, I'm added to that, you know, no grind, no hustle, no eat, no grind, no hustle, no eat. So that's where we're at right now. Just staying busy, enjoying the sports world, enjoying the family. How about you? What you got going on over there?
Well, I mean, this week, the main thing I did was we gave my cousin Robin, she had a surprise birthday party. It was her siblings and her cousins, all of us first cousins got together for actually the first time in a while, And
well, it's good, man.
We had a good time.
Yeah, well, listen, family is important. Family is important. I mean, right now, speaking of family, I got to send prayers. I'll ask everybody out there for my sister who's recovering from cancer. She's in the hospital right now. She's going to be doing some stem cell research for multiple myeloma cancer. So blessings to my sister Yolanda Perez, who's in John Hopkins medical care facility right now. So be strong if you're listening, family. We're sending prayers out there, and hopefully we have our prayer warriors on Facebook and YouTube. Sending out some good words to our Heavenly Father. So we had some things going on this week in sports, didn't we? We got the MLB All-Star Game to recap. A couple of things we should want to touch base from last week. We obviously had NBA games 4, 5, and Game 6 is the upcoming preview. We have some NFL camps getting ready to break camp. We had the couple of domestic violence issues we want to talk about. So every week we try to bring something, that's edgy or controversial to the show. So why don't we start off with the baseball? Just kind of get that out of the way. Did you get a chance to watch the All-Star Game?
Yes, I did. I mean, hey, the American League did what they always do. They won.
Yeah, I know. We were definitely both shooting for the National League. The American League was able to pull out a 5-2 victory. Shohei Ohtani, your guy, he goes out there, he starts the game. He had a 1-2-3 first inning, but he was 0 for 2 at the plate. So no kudos for him on that. But we had some other guys do well. I know Shohei Ohtani is your guy, so I'll let you speak on him a little bit. I know you seemed to be hype on him last week.
Hey, he's the modern day Babe Ruth. It was good to see that he decided to participate in both the home run derby and the All-Star game. I mean, he didn't back out of it like some players did, and it was good to see.
Well, yeah. Now, speaking of the home run derby, there was 2 players we talked about last week that were missing in the home run derby, right? We talked about Fernando Tatis Jr. that was missing, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. that was also missing from the home run derby. And Vlad is my guy. Vlad Sr. was my guy. I loved him, but his son goes out there. He wins the All-Star MVP, and during the game, they're interviewing Fernando Tatis Jr. live on the field while Vlad Jr. is up the bat. And you know what happened, right?
Yeah, the ball still hasn't landed yet. It still
hasn't
somewhere.
Landed.
It might.
Yeah.
That ball's somewhere in orbit, somewhere.
Yeah, they were interviewing Tatis, talking about if him and Vlad Jr. knew each other and how well they knew each other. And it seems like Vlad Jr.'s mom is such a great cook that she feeds all the ball players, so she keeps them happy and healthy. And we have footage of the home run here coming up right now.
Healthy and happy.
Yeah, goodbye! Wow!
Junior has doubled the lead.
Yeah, the ball. Some happy fan got that. That's what they were talking about. You heard Tatis saying she keeps us happy. He was talking about Vlad's mom and the cooking that she does for all of the ball players that they know.
Yeah, he hit that ball with some aggression.
Listen, and he's come out of the All-Star game. I think he has 2 home runs since he's come out of the All-Star game. He was the All-Star MVP. Great performance. You know, I mean, it was perfectly for us. It was cued perfectly. It was almost like we talked about how they were missed on the MLB All-Star, the home run derby, and here they're interviewing Tatis,
right.
And boom, Vlad Jr. hits the home run. I thought that was beautiful to occur in that manner. Now the home run derby. Do you remember who you had last week as your winner?
Yeah, I know who I had, but I remember you had the winner. You picked the winner.
I did. I would listen. I wanted to give you the opportunity to say you had Shohei Ohtani winning, and I did pick Juan Soto, the Washington Nationals, to beat him, and he did. I think the only one I had wrong of the 4 pairings was I had Joey Gallo winning, and he was the only one I had that lost of the first 3. But I did have the finals, which was Trey Mancini versus Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso wins the home run derby. He's a 2-time home run derby champion. His next one he has to chase. You know the only player that's won 3 in a modern day All-Star. I know that they used to do it a lot different back in the day. You know who has the record for a home run derby? He used to wear his hat backwards in the home run derby.
Was it Josh Hamilton? Was it?
No. Josh put on the show, but the year Josh put on that show, he didn't win the home run derby. I'm trying to I forget who won the home run derby. Josh didn't win it that year. He put on the show. But Ken Griffey Jr., the kid they called Junior, has won 3 of the modern day home run derbies. Well, they changed the format the last few years.
Yeah.
But Griffey was a 3-time winner of the home run derby. So good, congratulations to Pete Alonso. He actually donated his money to his favorite charity. It was the Wounded Warriors of America. And I think Shohei Ohtani also, he donated his money that he won from being in the All-Star game. So good by those guys. They have enough money.
Well, I'm just glad they came into Pittsburgh and lost the series to my Pirates this past week. That was good to see.
And you know what? And the Pirates had 2 All-Star starters, which was interesting. Okay, well, good.
Yeah,
it's good now.
Which is the first time in years.
Yeah, 2 All-Star starters. The number 1 pick in the draft was pretty good, and then when the series come out, Braves pretty good. It's pretty good 7 days for the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball fan base. And real quick, we didn't get to talk about it in the intro, but what's tomorrow again? There's something big going on tomorrow.
Are you talking about? Not necessarily tomorrow. The Steelers go to training camp coming up this week.
Yeah. Oh, it's later on. Yeah, the training camp for the Steelers. When's that start?
Right. Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. Oh, okay. And do the Cowboys start that day as well? I'm not a Cowboys fan, just for the record.
They start Wednesday.
Oh, wow. So the season. Oh, wow. Training camp starts Wednesday. Which is good, right? Because it's kind of the dead time of dead part of the pro sports series. Right now. I mean, the Olympics will carry us through a little bit this summer. Obviously, baseball's always ready and available. And right now, hey, we got a lot going on in this NBA Finals. I mean, I came on here really, really strong a few weeks ago and said Phoenix would win this series in 6, if not even 5. I thought it was not even. I thought 5 would be like a gentleman's sweep, and now they're down. Man, what do you got? What are you seeing going on in this series, man? Last week I think we were up through Game 3, so we got games 4 or 5. We can recap a little bit and then preview Game 6.
Well, what I see is Phoenix has got away from their team ball. It's turned into a 2-man show. It's turned into Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
Yes.
From the Phoenix side, it's turning into those 2. I thought Devin Booker scored a lot of points, but I think they're getting away from team ball. I don't know if this Kobe comparison, I don't know if it's gone to his head. I'm concerned a bit about that.
I am too. Because I always say they have great high pick and roll. The guard pick and roll sets that they're able to run. But Booker scored 40 points back to back games. But player efficiency is very important in today's game. We're in an analytical sports era, so it's not about how many points you score. It's how many points, shots taken to score those points. Are you getting all the people involved? I mean, Bridges one day gets 7, the next day is 13. Chris Paul, a lot of pressure on Chris Paul right now. I mean, he's had some terrible losses. I think he has like 3 playoff series losses where he's up. I know the one year in Houston he was hurt, but he had a 3-1 lead once, 2-0 before, 3-2, and he's lost those leads in the past. And now up 2-0 to start this series. And then in game 4, late in the game, he has the 2 turnovers. Booker could have maybe bailed him out if he'd have pulled up and took a 17-footer. But, at the end of the day, you're a Hall of Fame player. This is a young team. Phoenix is a young team outside of really Paul, right? Everybody else on that team is very, very, very young. So what happens in tight situations and tight games, right? Veterans have to lead, and young players need to follow. But the veteran turns the ball over is kind of tough,
Yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you said. But one thing I do want to add, Milwaukee, Giannis, your boy Giannis he's been great. I have nothing but praise for this man right now.
Listen, here's the thing about Giannis. We know what he's going to do. And you can't stop him. He's kind of like he's like Shaq in that he's dominating the game with no handle. Average handle at best, right? He's 7 foot, right? But he doesn't have a real mid-range game. He does not have a 3-point game. He airballs back-to-back foul shots. But, when you listen to him speak, I heard him speak this week. He said, I'm not worried about the past. Those games that we lost, I'm not worried about them. And I'm not really worried about the future. I'm in the moment now. And he really plays with that level of humility of, what's going on now? What's happening now? What can I do now? I missed that foul shot. Let me make the next one. I missed that layup. Let me take the next one. And he constantly, I don't know that his game's evolving, but his character's evolving. All of his failures and flaws are really building him to becoming the best player in the league. He's about to take the mantle. He needs one more win, and then I think you got to call him the top dog. But yeah, Giannis is, oh my goodness, he's just balling, man. So
I think he's also getting a charge, some energy off the opposing crowd too. The opposing crowd, I think, is driving him because they're getting on him at the free throw line, and I think it's pushing him to that next level. It's made him hungry.
Right. And how about the alley-oop dunk the other day? That was a fantastic play. That he was able to get that alley-oop. I think that was game 5. Game 4 was the one he had the block, right?
Yeah.
He had the block, comes down and scores, and then game 5 he has the alley-oop that kind of shuts down that lead. But Chris Middleton, we can't forget him. Chris Middleton had 40 points in game 4, 29 in game 5. Drew Holiday had 27 in game 5. So they're all playing well. I think this series has turned into Drew Holiday defensively. The stats are, I think Devin Booker going into game 5 was 1 for 11 when Drew Holiday sticks him. So Drew has become the point guard defensive player. So, he's got to split his time. Drew can't defend. He can't defend 2 players at once, right? So sometimes he's on Paul. Sometimes he's on Booker. And, as much as Giannis is the MVP, I would say he would be the MVP of this series, I think, even if they lost. That's how dominant he has been. But I think he's the MVP of the series. And I think Drew Holiday can get a lot of credit for what he's doing, particularly on scoring, defense, and just the general floor leadership for the Bucks. What do you think about that?
Everything you said is on point. I think the cast of characters around Giannis has been stronger than the cast of characters around Devin Booker. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think that's the difference in the series right now.
Well, the guy,
but I
Aiden,
also go back to what I said earlier. No, I was just going back to what I said earlier. I think that with Devin Booker, I think his teammates are watching him too much. I don't think there's enough ball movement. I think that turned the series. I think that's turning the series. Maybe I'm too stuck on that part of it, but that's what I'm seeing.
Well, yes, because Aiden is only averaging 2 foul shots a game. So here's your 7-foot center who is not playing to contact on the offensive side. He's not even going to the foul line. That was the one thing that when you looked at Philly, I hate to bring them up. I mean, they've been gone a long time, but what's the big guy, our center here? Can't even get his name right now. The center's name. Our friend, the MVP candidate.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid going to the foul line 15 times, in the playoffs. I think he averaged like 12 during the season, 15 for the postseason. So Aiden not going to the line is because they're not. Phoenix is not getting any offensive rebound. I mean, Aiden gets only one gets good boards, but they're not getting any offensive rebounds. And I think what happened in this series as well is Milwaukee, I think in the beginning of the series, was kind of complaining about the officiating, and they just buckled down and said, forget about complaining about the officials, and let's just ball. We're going to play aggressive. We're going to play physical. We're going to wear this team out. In the fourth quarter, a lot of those turnovers are coming. Why? Because people get sloppy, man. Every time you go to the rack and you getting banged around or you getting pushed, and not just in the paint area, but when they're physical out in the perimeter, you got to fight through screens. You got picks coming, backdoor screens occurring, and you're fighting through everything. You get the ball and somebody's banging you around. I think that Milwaukee's physicality in this series has really turned the tide and why they've won 3 games in a row. They've been way more physical, and Phoenix is a more finesse team. They like to pass the ball, but they're not doing that as much anymore, right? The ball movement has become a little stagnant. Definitely the Kobe Bryant mention. I mean, it's a little early, to be Kobe. Kobe's one of the top, easily one of the top 10 players. I'm not going to debate that. He's probably one of the top 5 players, right? So Booker's in his 5th or 6th year. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do before you can be put in that class, But yeah, I think you're right about that level of
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix is definitely.
So what do you got? Tomorrow's game 6, right? It's going back to Milwaukee, right? Do we have a game 7?
Right.
And let me ask you that.
Yeah,
You think Phoenix is going in?
We're not going to get a game 7, unfortunately.
Oh, you're saying no game 7?
No, I think no game 7. No
game 7. Okay, so you have Milwaukee shutting it down, winning 4 games in a row. All right, so Giannis would be the MVP.
Yeah,
okay, so
unfortunately, yeah.
Well, listen. All right, so I think we're going to game 7. The series, I think, is just too competitive. I think we're going to go to game 7. And I don't know that Phoenix is going to win anymore because I think that Giannis is like your running game and your defense. His game travels on the road. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like you have the high octane football, the football analogy, you can always take your run game with you. You always can pack your defense with you on the road, right? That's why a good defensive team and good teams that can run the ball always can win in postseason games, or, because the weather wouldn't impact them as much, right? Or the crowd, because they're going to run the ball and they're going to suffocate you on the other side. Well, Giannis is kind of like that in himself. He's just going to do what he's going to do, and there's not really much you can do to stop him. They have no answer for him. He will score 30 to 40 points. I think I'd like to see Game 7 more than I think it's going to really happen. I think part of me is my pride is I want to say that I picked Phoenix to win, although I'm not going to be right on the amount of games. I wanted Phoenix to win, but it will not be a knock on Chris Paul's career, I think, if he loses this. What do you think that's going to be like on the Chris Paul legacy? What's your thoughts on that if they lose this series?
He's going to get criticized because they're going to go back to the game he completely fell apart. What was that, Game 4? He completely fell apart in the fourth quarter.
He forgot how to play professional basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he'll get some criticism.
His detractors are going to bring that up.
Well, yes, for sure. But I don't think it impacts his legacy. I mean, he's still a Hall of Famer, right? We're not going to still first ballot Hall of Fame, right? But
definitely.
He was never going to be better than Magic. Yeah, he was never going to be better than Magic. He was never going to be better than Isaiah. And he probably will never be better than Steph Curry. At least, Oscar Robinson, as far as top 5 point guards. So he's not really, maybe even Jason Kidd. I mean, Jason Kidd for his flaws and some of the flaws he had early in his game, is probably the top 5 point guard, maybe John Stockton, whatever. But at the end of the day, CP3 losing this game, this series, if Phoenix loses, Milwaukee's ascension or the ascension of Giannis into the next superstar. Not he's already a superstar, he's a 2-time MVP, but he's got the trophy now. He's wearing the crown that says, I'm the best player in the league. I dominate, and I have surpassed KD and LeBron James. It's a three-player argument right now. But I think that if he wins this championship, Giannis becomes the guy. He'll have the belt, and it doesn't impact CP3 too much, Well, I think you're saying Game 7. Go ahead. Any other thoughts on the basketball?
Well, I do have a question for you. Do you think the networks and the NBA itself wouldn't mind seeing Giannis win because the international following, the European, in Europe? You think they would like to see Giannis pull it off?
I would say no, because I think CP3 would be the more Cinderella story, the more I don't Cinderella, but the more heartfelt story. It would be the American story that that CP3 would have gotten his ring. He was denied the opportunity to play with Kobe. I mean, think about CP3 going to the Lakers when that trade was denied, right? He's had some tough losses. Right. This is Giannis' first trip to the NBA Finals. And as far as I know, I mean, the team, I don't think they're looking to lose anybody. They would build around him anyway. Other players would want to come and play with him, particularly shooters. So Giannis is not that point where he's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be interchangeable. You can just give me a point guard, some guys that can play defense, 1 or 2 guys that can shoot, and we're going to always be a contending team. So I think the networks would like to see a Game 7 anyways. Big money in Game 7s, right? I'm sure Vegas would like a Game 7. Right. So, all right, so we'll move on to something. We're here at the show, the Fast Sports Show. Once again, brought to you by Kobe Visions. Please hit a like and a subscribe. I want to throw that in there to Kobe Visions on YouTube. The something controversial we want to talk about. They're not always easy topics. We talked about some of the fun stuff. But now we have we have 3 issues that have occurred in professional sports with domestic violence in the last month, and I think that we have a little bit of information now that we didn't have the last 2 weeks, so it's a good time to talk about it. And one of the things before we talk about them is I like to say that professional sports or they're just a microcosm of society. So things that you and I encounter, regular people encounter, so do the pro athletes, so do the musicians, so anyone that's famous. They deal with the same issues that we do. So the first one is Trevor Bauer. Okay, we have Trevor Bauer, we have Sterling Castro, and then, of course, the most recent one this week was Richard Sherman from the NFL. So Trevor Bauer, Did you see what happened today? There was some late breaking news on him about an hour or so ago. I don't know if you got to catch that.
No, I didn't catch it.
Well, all right. So here's the Trevor Bauer situation. Trevor Bauer, he gets in a domestic issue. So he has an assault charge first. Then it became a sexual assault charge. So he was not suspended originally by the Dodgers when the report came out. It's kind of like a May situation that occurred, and it was kind of reported on in June, and then it took into July. So it took a little while. The Dodgers wanted MLB to step in and give him the 7-day suspension for administrative leave, but they did. MLB says, "Hey, we're doing our research. We got to find out." Well, today the reports were they have messages that were exchanged. So what was considered sexual assault. There may have been some consensualness because there's messages where the lady says, socks on tonight, except if you're choking me out, and that was one of the accusations that he had actually choked this woman with her own hair, performed sexual acts on her. But now these messages leading into it, there may have been some, adult, what's the word I'm looking for? Consent. Yes, the
consent. Consent.
There was consent. So now the allegations are coming out later. So still a lot to come out in that story of Trevor Bauer. I don't know if you got to follow that a little bit, but he's not pitching, and he's facing the 70. Go ahead.
I guess they did that just to their I's and cross their T's and make sure everything is before they throw him back out there. But, the whole thing, and just advice to any athlete or anybody in any walk of life that you're being seen or just period, just be careful, man. That's because it's always her word against your word or your word against her word. It's an unfortunate situation.
Right, and no means no. I have 2 kids. I have 2 sons in college,
definitely.
right? So no means no. And if someone is passed out, right, then no is the answer, right?
Right, exactly.
So Trevor Bauer is out of baseball. Sterling Castro's out as well. He had a domestic issue. He's with the Washington Nationals. He's also out of baseball right now. His was for he's on administrative leave. Yeah, it was a domestic issue that circulated from in the spring training time. So it just took a little while, and it takes time for for due process to occur.
Right.
So now we have 2 guys in baseball. Now Richard Sherman is the most recent one. Did you get a chance to listen to the 911 call by any chance of Richard Sherman?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It was a very interesting call. So in the call now Richard Sherman is a free agent, so that this could impact his ability to sign a contract. But he's out in Seattle. So for the public who's following us that may not know, he actually drove his car through a construction zone. Now, highway construction, I used to work in construction. I was a safety professional before I became an entrepreneur. Highway construction is one of the most deadliest causes of construction deaths. It's one of the fatal 4 incidents in construction is automobile accidents. Although it falls under DOT, but that's a whole other thing. But him driving through that, banging down his door at his in-laws, they had to call 911. The wife, did you hear the part about the wife asking what she told the 911 person?
Dispatcher.
The dispatcher. Did you hear what she told her?
Yeah, I mean, she. I'm more focused on what the dispatcher was saying. The dispatcher just seems so unprofessional.
Yeah, she was a little unprofessional. It's like, man, I need you to, I need you to basically like tell the person that somebody was in the background talking at one point. Like, you need to tell them to be quiet. You got to answer these questions. And she was like, look, I don't want to help. He's drunk. He's belligerent. He had drunk 2 bottles of alcohol. He had already wrestled with the uncle. He was not armed, although.
Right.
He did say Richard Sherman had text message people that he talked about hanging himself. So we're talking about mental issues here, depression possibly. He talked about hanging himself, killing himself. He said that when the police comes, he was going to fight, and he did get in a fight with the police. And now Richard Sherman's a professional athlete. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, and it took several officers to restrain him down. But the wife during a 911 call said that my husband is going to fight, and she begged him not to kill him. What are your thoughts about that? Not to shoot.
Well,
she said,
I thought the wife handled it perfect. She in the midst of all the confusion going on between the dispatcher and her, she was able to somewhat keep her cool and explain the situation, which was great. I just wish the dispatcher would have been more professional. She wasn't comforting at all.
She had no compassion. Zero compassion. I think that had she shown a little compassion, she wanted to get her words out and not necessarily listen to the information that was coming to her anyway. All of the information she needed was coming to her anyway. Because Allison Sherman, who supports Richard Sherman, by the way, Richard Sherman went to court on Thursday. He has on Twitter apologized, and the wife does support him. So, that's where we're at right now. So, anyway, I think we've had a good show, right?
Oh, definitely.
So, a lot of information to pack in a short period of time. But once again, episode 4, Philly Fantasy Fabrication Sports Talk Show. I think it's been a success. So, any final words that you want to take us home with on your end, and then I'll send us out of here.
I'm just happy football season is almost here. This has been a long off season. It's time. It's almost here.
All right. Well, thank you to all those that are listening to us. Once again, prayers to my sister Yolanda Perez, who's fighting cancer. So her fight is my fight. Is the hashtag we're with right now. Please hit a like and subscribe. Thank you once again. I look forward to seeing you all next Monday night, 8 p.m. live on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks to Kobe Vision for the production. We're out of here.